The hemorrhoids are flared up tonight. My ass is on fire, alright. Anyways, speaking of things that should not be. Whew, let me catch my breath. Oh, fuck. Whew, I just came from upstairs, or from downstairs. I literally just ran up the fucking stairs. Anyways, whew. So I want to talk about Annihilation. Now, when you goddamn fucking bug, I think it just went in my mouth. God, whole fucking goddamn universe, bugs that fly in my face. Anyways, oh god, now I can't breathe. Now I'm getting dizzy. Holy shit, I'm gonna pass out. Holy fuck. Anyways, so I want to talk about Annihilation. Because when you finally watch the fucking thing after 17 months, I had forgotten what I wanted to say, and you basically you had just basically caught me after I had woken up from a nap. And you're like, oh, let's talk about Annihilation now, and I'm like, what? What? I couldn't think. So I'm assuming you realize that it was a metaphor. The whole movie was a metaphor for cancer. And as a result, at the very end, yes, that was Natalie Portman's character. It wasn't the alien. There was two different things going on. There was the manipulated version of her, and then there was the alien version of her. And again, it was a metaphor for cancer. So when she stepped into the bubble, whatever that dome was, when she stepped in, her DNA started to be manipulated. It was still her, but her DNA was manipulated. So, in other words, it was her, but different. And it's kind of like, well, like cancer. Those are your cells, but different. And then when she met the alien, that was the cancer itself, so to speak. So in other words, it's like your body produces the cancer. So in other words, it's you producing it, but it's a foreign entity. So at the end, because when she's given that interview, you can clearly see the other woman's tattoo on her arm. So she was being manipulated. Like, for example, the man bear pig thing that was running around. That was creepy, though, when it was screaming like the woman. Or started, I basically started copying other things. It's like when cancer copies over the good cells. So in other words, a bad cell starts producing more bad cells. Similar concept. And so, in other words, at the end, that was her. It wasn't the alien, it was her, but she was fucked up. So, in other words, it was her, but not her, if that makes sense. It's a different version of her. It wasn't the original version that went into the bubble, but it was a different version. So, it's hard to explain, because it wasn't the alien, necessarily. So, in other words, there was three different versions. There was the healthy version, there was its spreading version, and then there was the actual entity itself, aka the cancer. And when she said that the alien was not necessarily hostile, which is technically true. I mean, we always refer to cancer as like, oh, I've battled cancer, which, as somebody who had a family member who had cancer, you don't battle shit. Okay? You basically just keep breathing for the next day. Oh, I battled and won cancer. No, you didn't win shit. Okay? If you gotta pump yourself with that much fucking chemo to the point your fucking hair falls out, you didn't win shit. You barely survived. Ain't no winning that. No, you came out of that fucked up, basically. In other words, she came out of the bubble fucked up. It's a similar concept. It's her, but her hair is gone, kind of a deal. It's her. In other words, she's not the same person now that she was when she went in. So, but I mean, yes, it was still her, but it wasn't her, if that makes sense. But it also wasn't the cancer itself. So, like I said, when she was talking about it not being necessarily hostile. I know she was the one kind of being hostile toward it. So it's like your cancer. Is your cancer really bad? I mean, yes, it's bad, but in and of itself, is it bad? Not really. It's just doing what it was programmed to do. It was just doing what it's, well, supposed to do. Now, where it comes from or why it exists or all that is a different story. So another one, when she met the alien, it's just like if you got like skin cancer or any other cancer, it becomes a part of you, aka mimics you, like it did in the movie, and it basically goes with you. It becomes part of you, which is what the alien was trying to do. So in other words, her DNA got manipulated when she crossed into the bubble, and then the alien was trying to not necessarily become her, but become part of her, I think. Now, yeah, granted, it was going to take over. Like, for example, what would happen if somebody could live through cancer and just let it completely spread throughout their entire body? They would be kind of a weird, fucked up, toad-looking thing. Whatever. But we can't live that far. Now, again, it's like, where does that shit come from? How do those cells get damaged and manipulated so that they're continuously creating more of itself? I don't know. Like, where did that bubble come from? I don't know. It's a similar concept. So when you were saying, well, it's not her, clearly it wasn't her. It was her to a point. In other words, it was more her than it was the alien. And there was a distinct difference. Because the alien was kind of the cancer. It was the foreign entity, which is what cancer is. It's a foreign entity in the body. But the bubble is what was manipulating the DNA and creating more of the problem, if that makes any sense at all. Which it does when you think about it. But again, you were saying that, oh no, it's not her, it was the alien. Now, there was a couple different issues that took place. For example, when they first went into the bubble, she wakes up, she goes in, and the next scene you see, she wakes up, and nobody knows who set up base camp or any of that stuff. So something could have happened. She could have been switched or something, or, whatever. I don't know. I mean, as far as like the movie goes, something could have happened to her. She could have got switched. Some people were suggesting that when the alien made her unconscious at the end, they switched places or something. So I don't know. I didn't agree with that. That didn't make any sense. But there's places where things could have happened, and who knows? The whole thing could have been a fucking dream. I mean, it could have been any number of things. Like, she was so distraught that her husband or whatever it was, went off on this secret mission and whatever, never came home. He died, and she could just be fucked in the head. I mean, it could be any number of things. Because it was kind of interesting how, now this is one time I could actually get behind like an all-female cast kind of a deal, although it wasn't totally all, whatever. But I could get behind it because it actually had a point. Like, they sent in all these, rough and rugged military guys, so let's try something different. Let's send in some scientists who were female, and of course she had a tie to one, and then you see that video where the guy is telling the alien version, go find whatever the fuck her name was, the Natalie Portman character, go find her. And then he left and went and found her, which brought her to the thing. And so it would have been interesting. So in other words, you would have had the alien version of him and the alien version of her. Now you've got the alien version of him and the manipulated original version of her, which is kind of interesting. What that's going to entail. Now, obviously, it's not her per se. In other words, how do I word this? It's her, but it's not her. But it's not the alien either. So it's her with fucked up DNA, and she is different than what she was when she went into that bubble. Where he is actually the alien creature, or a version of a part of the alien creature. So he's like the full cancer. She's kind of the midway part, if you will, if you get my point. She hasn't fully given into the In other words, the cancer is trying to change you into something else. Where she's kind of in the process. She's not the same, but she's still not fully the alien either. Or he is totally the alien. So there is a distinction between the two. And I just want to point that out. But I love the idea that it was a metaphor for cancer. I thought that was very cool. And I definitely enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very interesting. It was kind of creepy. Now, I do think they could have done better with the alligator. The alligator was just kind of boring. It was just like, oh, it's a big CG alligator. Rrr. They could have done more with it. A lot more with it, like visually. Like, it should have been fucked up. Like, it should have been, like, I don't know, part shark or something, or part... I mean, it had the teeth, but it was like, you know, visually, That was kind of boring, and I do think that toward the end, when they got closer to the lighthouse, there should have been those little cancer things you saw on the buildings and stuff. That should have been over the fucking top. I like when they got there and like the trees were all crystallized, but that shit should have been really, really concentrated in the center, where it just felt like it was hit or miss. Like, oh, they wrapped some shit around a tree over here, a little spot over here, a little spot over there, a little thing on the ground. It just seemed kind of random, like somebody's trash just blew open and it's gonna spread across the lawn. And it was like really no rhyme or reason, because you kind of expect it. Like, as you're going into the bubble and you start to see these things and like, oh, things are being manipulated, they're changing and things are combining with one another and so on and so forth. And then towards the end, as you get to the lighthouse, it should have been completely fucked up. It should have been like this big cancerous tumor, and it really wasn't. I think they kind of dropped the ball on that. Because, in other words, it should have been really concentrated toward the lighthouse and kind of dissipated as it got closer to the outer rim of the bubble. In other words, it would grow, but the outer edges of it should have been a little less. And it seemed like the outer perimeter where there was less was all the whole thing. I don't know. It just, like I said, it should have been a little bit more concentrated toward the lighthouse, I think, visually, and it should have just been a little thicker, a little deeper of like the cancerous bullshit. But yeah, like I said, somebody going through cancer, you don't beat cancer. Cancer beats you, and if you're lucky, and if you're last man standing, kind of a deal, and because there's no guarantee that shit ain't coming back. Some people, they get it and it doesn't come back. Some people get it, it always comes. I mean, now if that's the case, then the alien could technically come back. I mean, theoretically, it could. So there could be another version of her. So you could have the alien version of her and then the manipulated version of her. So you could have two versions of her. I mean, technically, I guess. If it's a metaphor for cancer and the cancer comes back. So yeah, she could come back as the alien full. So yeah, I don't know. But again, the distinction between her, the manipulated version of her, and then the alien version of her, there was basically three versions of her. And anyways, I don't know. See, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else to that movie? I don't know. I definitely liked it. Now, the other woman, there was that one woman. I actually think she did have cancer. I'm trying to remember what her role was, what her purpose was. She was like all gung-ho to go in there and stuff, and she's like, I don't know, that was kind of weird because it almost felt like she was going to die and she wanted to, get to the end and see what was there before she died. It's kind of what it felt like. I'm trying to remember what the purpose was of her character. But anyways, I thought it was a decent movie. I definitely enjoyed it. What else was there? Let's see. Oh my! I forgot the fucking movie right here. Let me look at it. Like I said, I did like the fact that it was kind of a all woman cast. Now, I'm not one of these big people. Oh, gotta have all these women because women have never been in movies and gaming, and women have never been anywhere. This is the first time we've ever had a real heroine. That type of stuff needs to shut the fuck up. Okay. It just needs to shut the fuck up. We've had heroines before. People forget Ripley. People totally forget Ripley. I mean, give me a break. Ripley didn't need no fucking man. All she had to do was get in her underpants and get in a fucking mech. That's all she had to do. Fuck you. But I didn't see it that way. I didn't see it like the whole SJW warrior bullshit. You know, gender swap bullshit. Well, I mean, it's technically what they did, but there was kind of a purpose for it too, because it was, you know, and who knows, maybe these other women had connections that we didn't know about in the movie, because this apparently had been going on for years. They'd been sending people in for years, so who the fuck knows what happened? Now, for example, let's say the first people who went in got manipulated. Some of them made it out. Now, obviously, you see body parts and bones and shit. So, obviously, they didn't make it. And they were all being turned into something as they went in. But some of them could have made it out very easily. So, the people that she was doing interviews with could have been people who had gone in and been manipulated. We don't know that. I mean, we don't know how far the quote unquote the cancer had spread. It may not have just been those two. But either way, you assume that because they are what they are now. Now she's obviously different than what she was when she went in, and he is obviously full alien. That shit's probably going to spread. Now, whether they send more people in to manipulate the cells around them, aka like they are the cells that have been manipulated, and they're sending more people in to get manipulated to come back out and kind of intermingle. But the problem is that bubble was spreading, so I don't know, maybe the bubble was spreading because people were going in. The more people go in, feed the bubble spreads. Who knows? I don't know. Because that would be interesting too. So there's all these little details that I don't think they really hit on, but that's what makes it cool, because you can ponder. Again, maybe that's why the bubble was expanding, because they were sending people in. Some people were coming out, you know, kind of like the strong will survive. So you go in with these people, this group of people, and one or two come out. Well, they're obviously survival fittest. They're the strongest of the bunch. And now they intermingle with everybody else. They send in more people. I mean, who knows? Who freaking knows? Or it was just expanding regularly, or she and the one dude were the only two that made it out. That's how we were made to believe, but that's not necessarily true. And it's not like they're gonna. If they're manipulated, it's not like they're gonna tell you. I'd be curious to watch it again and see if any of their eyes kind of glowed or anything like that, or if you see any weird abnormalities of them. You know, like for example, that one woman who wanted to go in, the doctor or whatever her fucking name was. Maybe the reason she wanted to go in is because the people around her were manipulating her, saying, "You want to go in, you need to go in." And she's like, "Oh yeah, I need to go in." You know, kind of a deal. Go into the bubble. To find out what's in there. Maybe they were kind of leading her into there, and then, again, the more people go in, they kind of become a part of it, and the bubble expands. Again, I don't know. I'm just speculating. But yeah, what's cool about it to me is there was a lot of little details that maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. You could kind of speculate. I like that idea. I like being able to speculate on a movie where it's not really given, or it's not really said, "Oh, this is 100% how it happened." So again, I mean, there's little things that you could pick apart, you know. But I'm trying to think. What else was there? I don't know, but anyways, I really did enjoy the movie. I thought it was kind of cool. It was definitely kind of different. The only downside, I didn't think visually it was the greatest movie. Like I said, the alligator was kind of weak. The man-bear pig was kind of cool, actually. That was a little, because it was like the face is all fucked up. It looked like a skull. It looked kind of cool. So they kind of It's almost like they did well there, but then everything else was just kind of like, eh. The visuals are kind of ho-hum. Not necessarily like CGI, even though I hate all CGI, but I mean, just collectively, like I said before about the whole, it should have been more concentrated at the lighthouse, and it was to a point, but it just felt like there was random hit or miss where things were, like, oh, here's a crystal tree, there's a crystal bush, oh, there's a little thing over there. It just seemed very random instead of more concentrated in the center. But whatever. Minor detail, minor nitpick. Actually, not really minor nitpick. It should have been, if this is a metaphor for cancer, and they said it was, then it should have been that way. And it wasn't. It just seemed very spotty. Well, I mean, I guess technically cancer would be kind of spotty, but especially when it starts to spread, but I don't know. Anyways, it was a cool movie. Definitely a cool movie. Natalie Portman is actually pretty good in it. What's his name there? Poe was pretty good. I don't know, he was better in this movie than he was Star Wars. Fuck Star Wars. They didn't get me started with that bullshit. Anyways. So I actually wouldn't mind seeing a sequel to it. I don't know what they could do with it. Whether they bring back the original cast, or Natalie and the Poe. I don't know, but they didn't even have to. Well, they should have at least a guest appearance of the two somehow. Whatever. Anyways, whatever. This is gonna be a short clip because I don't really give a fuck. So whatever. Fuck you.